All right. Good evening, everybody. Today, Key and I will be talking about Lori Harvey and Michael B. Jordan. They've broken up after about a year of dating. And while the dating lives of celebrities is not very interesting to me, the male response online is. So, in today's video, we'll be taking a look at the male mind and we'll ask the question, why do they seem to want to humble this young lady so badly? And let's get this intro going. All right, Key. So if you've heard anything about this situation at all, which I'm sure you haven't because it's not like it's on everybody's news feed and Instagram feeds and fucking Facebook or wherever. So I'm sure you probably haven't heard about this, but Laura B. Harvey is Steve Harvey's stepdaughter, and she's been dating Michael B. Jordan for about a year, and they broke up. And that's you would think that that is just like some very basic ass behavior that nobody really cares about, but apparently everybody cares about it online. So, I mean, did you have any thoughts about the situation before I get into my my outline?
Not necessarily, but celebrity breakups are always forecasted a lot. What I say more publicly than anybody else because of celebrities. They're in the limelight at all times. So not really anything that I would take into any real consideration, but it is what it is. They're celebrities.
Okay, so my first question is going to be I agree. Yeah, they're celebrities, so they're in the limelight, so everybody's going to be looking at them. Outside of that, I don't think anybody would care if this was like some regular people, but whatever. And the first question I'm going to ask is why why is their anger at her for dating multiple people?
So I guess I don't know if it would necessarily be for her dating multiple people. I think it's the people for one, and
Hmm.
then two, I think it's the fact that none of the relationships prior to this relationship were really long periods of time. You know what I mean?
Wait,
Everybody
wait,
has
wait,
their
wait.
own.
Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish, and then I got something to ask.
So I'll say everybody has their own outlook on what they consider. You know what I mean? A decently long relationship or whatever, whether that be 6 months, 8 months, a year. Um, but really and truly, like it takes a little while to get to know somebody. So I mean, if you talk to somebody for 3 or 4 months, that's really actually a long period of time when you consider that every single day typically people who are in a relationship talk, you know what I mean? So you're getting to know them or whatever and you're getting familiar with them and you're doing things or whatever. So I mean 3 to 4 months realistically is a decent period of time, but I think that may be what people are concerned about.
So, your answer is number one, the men she's dating. Number two, the length of time that she's dating these men is short.
Right.
Okay, so number one, how can I be labeled a hoe for the men that I date? Or what does that mean? What does that mean?
So I don't necessarily think that that is what they're trying to do as far as labeling her that, but I think that is why she is being uh for lack of better terms, talked about and drugged the way she is. Just because it's not like she's going after these men to like I said, she's not going after these men to create relationships, long-term relationships. Is what people are thinking. I'm not saying this is true or not. I've never spoken to them. I'm not in their relationship. So I don't really know what they're after, either party. But I think that is really what people are paying attention to. And then I mean it's Michael B. Jordan. So really I think a lot of the backlash that she's receiving is coming solely off the fact that it's Michael B. Jordan because when this went down with Future and when this went down with Diddy's son and the other guys, it really wasn't this deep. You know what I mean? People said what they said, a few different things, but they let it go. But the fact that it's Michael B. Jordan and he holds the status that he holds when it comes to movies and his career as a celebrity, you know what I mean? And then being who he is, he has a lot of women on his side too. So it doesn't help her case that she's not only got men looking at her bad, negatively, but she's also got women looking at her negatively because of who Michael B. Jordan is. So
Who is Michael B. Jordan?
Well, I mean, he's a very prominent actor. You know what I mean? Good looking guy, according to a lot of women. So, and he's, you know, what I'm saying he's like, I mean, he's well known in the acting community. He's well known in
So he's highly regarded and well established, is what you're
right,
saying.
exactly.
So she didn't stay with this highly established man, so she's a hoe.
Not no no no. It's not what I'm saying. It's not what I'm saying at all. And
But that's what they're saying.
I don't think that's what anybody's saying. I
I,
think that they're just. I think she's just getting a negative viewing.
so you don't think, in your opinion, nobody's calling her a hoe? People are just looking at her
I don't
negatively.
think that's what they want to call her. I think they're doing that just because people don't always have the best, you know, words to use. They don't always have the best vocabulary whenever it comes to discussing women who are doing people wrong. You know what I mean? Because men get done wrong just as well as women. And then anytime a woman is doing a man wrong, that's where they go to. They instantly go to them being a hoe. And that's not necessarily the truth. So I don't know if people are really trying to call her that or if they're just using that term because it's used so loosely.
So is it your opinion that she was doing him wrong?
I don't think that she was. See, like I said, I don't really know the extent of the relationship, so I won't say that. In my opinion, I don't think she was doing him wrong. But if you ask me, I think that Michael B. Jordan wasted his time. So I don't know if she actually did him wrong. I mean, she's young, she's very young, you know what I mean? She could have wanted to make that relationship work. She could have wanted to be in that relationship for the extent of them being in it. However, when it came down to all right, this relationship is pretty serious, you know what I mean? This has been a year. Now, yes, that is pretty fast for what a lot of people consider, you know, fast, but at the same time, like it's been a year. We've been doing this for a whole year now. We've been, you know what I mean, out of the limelight. People have known about it, but we've been out of the limelight doing our own thing. And I'm ready to take this to the next level. And then all of a sudden, you're not ready to take this to the next level. And just like that, it's over.
All
So,
of a
I mean,
sudden.
that's the thing is it looks all of a sudden, but oftentimes, as we both know, these things don't just happen overnight. So this has probably been discussion. This has probably been, you know, late nights, sleepless nights, arguments, and you know, just trying to figure out, hey, what are we exactly doing here? Like it's been a year. Are we still really doing this? Like what's going on? And I'm sure talks have come up about, you know what I mean, future plans because with both of them being who they are, you know, Michael B. Jordan being who he is, um, it's just a matter of like I got to think about my future. This dude is very popular. He's got a lot coming up, movie wise, career wise, things that he's getting into and stuff. It's a future thing. You know what I mean? You can't just be looking at the now. Like I said, Michael B. Jordan's not young. She's very young. She's just getting out into you know what some call the real world. She's just getting out there. Now, yes, she's popular in the limelight, but she's still just getting out there. So she's young. He's not as young. So I mean, I think that's the thing.
Regarding the comment on the screen, it says he's back with his ex. This was a contract marriage. So I think that's what we read a little bit earlier today, that Michael B. Jordan is now dating some white woman, and Lori might be dating Jack Harlow, maybe rumored. But do you think this was a contract marriage? Which was actually one of my questions. Was their relationship just a PR stunt, and is it inauthentic?
So like I said before, it's very, very hard to say that. I mean, everybody's gonna have, you know, their own opinions. Everybody's got speculation because the only thing that people see that are not them two are media. So the only thing you have to go off of is what people can tell you from the media. You know what I mean? So some people might say that. However, one, they were never married. So it wasn't a contract marriage, I guess, so to speak, to begin with, because they were never married. And if they were married, I don't think anybody knew about it. So because obviously people were discussing the whole proposal situation and stuff. So really no contract marriage there. Now, as far as like a PR stunt, that I mean that kind of thing I feel like happens way more in the celebrity community than people realize. Like I think a lot of people you think, oh, okay, these two are together when you see that, but they're really just doing that because it would ultimately help out both of their careers. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that does happen when it comes to celebrities quite often. That's why they never end up getting married. You see them out, you know, on multiple occasions. You see them together. You see them hanging out. They may do, you know, when it comes to artists and stuff like that, music, they do tracks together or whatever, and it helps them both out. You know what I mean? But this particular situation, I would have a hard time believing that. for the sole fact of what I stated earlier. Michael B. Jordan is 35, right? Maybe already turned 36. I don't know, but he's roughly in the 35 range, right?
Hmm.
This guy has a pretty good amount of money already. He's got a pretty good career already under his belt. He's got multiple things coming up in the future that he's going to be involved with. He's going to be part of. His future and his life is in a position right now that I don't know if he necessarily would need a PR, a stunt
Hmm.
from anybody, let alone this young woman who's 10 years younger than him
Well,
that
let me
really
pause.
don't
Let me
have.
pause you there
Go
to
ahead.
give you context. The context to what I understand is that Michael B. Jordan has a history of only dating white women. I don't think he has a history of like saying anything derogatory towards black women. I think it's just a history of him only dating white women, and some people were calling that out, being that he was the main like antagonist of one of the main characters of Black Panther. So people are like, he's dating white women in his real life. Shouldn't the man who black people are looking up to be someone who is embodying black love and blah blah blah? So while I think people I think people overestimate how many PR stunts and how many contract marriages and stuff like that there are in Hollywood. I do think that maybe he was dating Lori and his PR people were like, hey, this relationship would look good for your PR. So let's put this in the public eye. But I don't necessarily think it's like a contract or anything like that. But that is why it's not because his career needs something or something like that. It's because people were coming out saying that he loves his white women and he needed a black girl, Lori, to kind of put him back. Which is why also people think that because he's extremely public and they're extremely like what's it called, pet name stuff like that on Instagram. They're like extremely public and about their relationship when they've been so private about their relationships in the past until this one in particular. So that's where the accusation, to my understanding of it being like a contract relationship, comes from.
Okay, I can see that for sure. And I do. I mean, I do. I guess understand why people would be saying that or whatever. You know what I mean? Or what people would be. What? How could I put this? I understand what people would be wanting or looking at or wanting to see because obviously, he did the movie, the Black Panther thing, and then he's an embodiment of, you know what I mean, the whole black culture situation. However, I feel like people take it a little bit too far sometimes. Now, I'm not going to go off on any tangent, but I do think that people are taking it a little too far. Just the same as this, right? So
Mhm.
everybody knows LeBron James, right? And like I said, I'm not gonna
Uh-huh.
go off on a tangent, but I'm just gonna put this out there because I feel like this is something relative. Everybody knows LeBron James. Everybody knows that LeBron James and his wife, they've been together, dated through high school and stuff. You know what I mean? Got together early in high school, and LeBron James grew up in a prominent black area where he was not, rich or anything. He comes from the ideal African American situation. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Now he's very wealthy. He takes care of the black community. The school. You know what LeBron James is all about. You know what he embodies. You know what he likes to put out there in the public and what he represents. His son this year for prom took a white young lady to prom. If you would have seen the comments and the
Mhm.
stories and how publicly uh disappointed people were because he took a white lady to prom, and then it was a matter of your father's who your father is, and then you go and take a white lady to prom, and people went off about that. So I do feel like, and in this situation, who Michael B. Jordan is in the movies and the role and what he's doing, I feel like people are taking it too far. I feel like they're taking that too far. Yes, that's what you want to see, but at the same time, look where he is. Look at the position that he is in. How many available women are at his status level, you know what I mean, or on his level or in his realm that he could go and be like, okay, like I think this would be because he may not be. This is the thing. He may not be one of those guys that are out there just going from woman to woman, bouncing back and forth, wanting to do whatever with any woman. I mean, he was just in a relationship for an entire year. You know what I mean? And I mean, he's in his 30s. You know what I mean? So he's in the middle of his 30s. Like he may actually be trying to find somebody and settle down.
I
So
mean, Lori Harvey is in her 20s and she just dated a man for a year and she's a hoe. But now that we're talking about Michael B. Jordan, it could be that he's just genuinely looking to settle down.
exactly, and the reason why is because I don't think that he needed Lori Harvey for any kind of stunt. Like, I don't feel like she was somebody that he would have been looking at or using for any kind of stunt. Only because I mean, what is Lori Harvey known for? Who is she known by? What does she do?
She has an established business and she's also a very successful model.
Okay, so
But
there's
you
models
will
come a
see
dime a dozen.
if you Google her, you will see that everything that she does has been overshadowed by Michael B. Jordan, as well as her dating history with Diddy, with Future, with whoever.
See, and that's the thing, and that's another reason why I think people are giving her giving her the negative view that they're giving her because of the men that she's after. And this is what I will say: you cannot fault her for being after successful men, for being after big time men. If she's got the ability to get these men, how could she be faulted for that? Future is a well known rapper, a well known artist, in the music industry. Diddy's son is Diddy's son. Diddy is well known, and Diddy's son is him. You know what I mean? I mean, not he's not Diddy, but he's Diddy's son. So that's who he is. That's the name that he carries, right?
Hmm.
And it's like, and then Michael B. Jordan is Michael B. Jordan. Everybody knows him. So you can't fault her for being after who she's after.
I
And
mean,
I'm not trying to take up for Michael B. Jordan. I just think that if he was going out for a PR stunt, if he was going out for some kind of look or something to help his name, help his resume, help him out, I think he would have went out and done it somewhere or with somebody other than Lori Harvey. I think.
I mean, I'm not going to. Yeah, like Lantonette said, she is a successful woman. I also don't understand the vitriol towards her looking for. I don't even know if it exists. It probably does. Actually, it does. That's one of my points today. But people are very mad at her for trying to date high status men as if she don't deserve them. She don't do anything. What has she done? What does she bring to the table or anything like that? But she is, like I said, a very successful woman. And like Lantonette said, she's a very successful woman. So I don't see why there would be an issue with an extremely successful woman looking for an extremely successful man. But it is definitely there. People definitely do have an issue. But we can move away from the PR stunt angle and we can come to why do men have a desire to humble her so badly? Which I don't think this is even a Lori Harvey specific question. That's who we're talking about today. But when it comes to somebody like Cardi B saying, I don't cook, I don't clean, let me tell you how I got this ring, and there was backlash from men online, like, how dare she? She don't deserve a good man. And then when she was cheated on, they were like, see, that's what not cooking and cleaning gets you, as if cooking and cleaning will stop a man from cheating on you. Spoiler, it won't. Or Sierra, when she dated Future and had his child, and then Future does what Future does, and he don't take care of his children, and he don't take care of her, so she leave, and she find Russell Wilson, and there's this vitriol online from men again, where it's like, how dare you? You don't deserve a good man like that. Don't you know that you're a single mom, and single moms are leftovers? You don't deserve love. You need to settle and lower your standards. And they insinuate that she settled for Russell and that Russell is just a beta male simp or whatever. And she only settled with him after she got done with alpha male. And now these same people are coming after Lori and they're saying, how dare she? She should have stayed with Michael. He's such a nice guy. Why did she leave? How dare she? She doesn't deserve love. She's for the streets. Why is there this desire to humble her? Key.
Okay, so I will say I agree actually fully with everything you just stated, as far as the situations previous, but I don't understand that either. I will say this: I don't understand that either. I don't know why there is such a want to, you know what I mean, like you said, a desire, a want to try to humble her and bring her down or something like that. Because when you put it in a perspective, right? She's not the only one. Now, does it happen to every single woman? I can't say it does because I don't see what happens. We don't see what happens to every single woman that does the same thing, goes after successful men, tries to date successful men, tries to date big name, big time men. We don't see what happens to them, or we don't get stories about them all the time, because every one of them is not Lori Harvey. She's, like I said, she's popular, she's well known in her own way, and then Michael B. Jordan is well known in his way. So I don't understand why that happens to certain women, but I do understand like why people get upset. I do get why people get upset, because if you ask me, I don't see what she is after. This is my thing. It's like
Lori?
you get these big time men or big name men, or I guess you try to look at these big time men and you go in this direction. But what are you after? I think that's really what people are upset about. Is you can't tell, because like I said, prior to her being in this year-long relationship with Michael B. Jordan, she
Mm-hmm.
was in what, a few months, just a few months with these other guys. So yeah, to
Yeah.
some it's a decent amount of time, some it's a short amount of time, whatever. But did any of them really go anywhere? What was going on in all these relationships? Nobody knows, because none of that stuff was put out in the public eye. None of that stuff was exposed, which is nice to have a private life. Yes, I understand that. But I think that is why. Now, I'm not backing it at all. I'm just simply stating I think that may be why people are trying to do what they're doing, as far as like trying to humble her, bring her down, is because they don't know. Nobody knows what she's after with just going after these big time men back to back to back like this.
Um, so how come isn't this what dating is though, to find someone that match your energy? um yeah, that was kind of going to be the angle I came from, Key. How come, like you said, she's dating these men for a few months, which we did look into a little bit before the live, and it doesn't work out and we don't know what happens. They're not very public, and then a few months later she's dating someone else. They date for a few months, they date for half a year, and then they break up. We don't know what happens and she moves on. But to me, that just sounds like a description of dating. You are with somebody, y'all energy does not match. Maybe it takes you a week to figure that out. Maybe it takes you a few months. Maybe you decide to compromise, and then you're like, no, I can't do this. But we don't know for these relationships. All we know is that these relationships didn't work out. We don't know why they didn't work out, and we can only speculate. So why is the speculation seem like it automatically go to she's a thought, she's passed around, she's moving through back to back men, instead of she's dating? Which to me, that's why I didn't even know what we were going to talk about for the live initially, because while I was looking for, I just see Lori Harvey on my feed everywhere, and I'm like, what did she do, what's going on? And everybody's like, she's dating. Like, that's the descriptions they're giving. She's dating more than one man in her 20s. And I was like, okay, why is there this jump to she a hoe? Why? Like, why not the other side? Is it, I mean, is it drama in your opinion? Do you think does drama sell better? People just want to be dramatic. Is there actually hate in these men? What's going on?
Oh no, it's got to be 10,000% drama. It's got to be 10,000% jealousy. And I'm gonna just say, you know what I mean. I'm gonna say what I gotta say on this, because I've seen this outside of celebrities, outside of very public women. Right? Anytime you have somebody who's clearly unattainable to these regular men, you know what I mean. And nothing against being a regular man, but if they're clearly unattainable to them, they're gonna find a reason to talk bad about them. Right? Everybody wants to find a reason. Not everybody. A lot of men want to find a reason to talk bad about the popular girl in school. You know what I'm talking about? And you know what I'm saying, or maybe you don't, I could break it down. But you know what I mean. Everybody wants to find a reason. If you try to go after the popular girl and she just is not giving you the time of day, you're going to find something wrong with her. Men want to find something wrong and like, nah, she not all that anyway. You know what I mean?
But
So I think that is a big part of what's going on with Lori Harvey's situation, because like the lady said in the comments and like you just said, dating is literally that. If I go on a date with you, I may not know nothing about you after that first date. A lot of people are nervous. You hardly talk. You know what I mean? You going to eat. You going to do whatever. I may not know hardly anything about you after that first date. But if we choose to keep talking, and a month, 2 months in, I'm gonna know a little bit about you. 3 months in, I'm gonna know a little bit about you. You know what I mean? A few months into dating somebody, you gonna know, okay, I could continue doing this, or this really wasn't what I thought it was. This isn't the same person, or not even the same person. This isn't the person that I thought that I was, was gonna get. All those things start popping up a few months in, and if you realize a few months in this is not what you want to continue doing, you know what I mean, for a long period of time, potentially forever, you definitely should get out a few months in before you get to years in and then realize you don't want to do this. So I don't think that, like I said, I wasn't backing these men. I wasn't backing anybody or anything like that. I was simply stating I think those are my opinions on why people are doing and saying and acting the way they're acting toward her, because of that reason.
Um, so you think this is not vitriol, it's not hate, it's drama,
Oh yeah, if you ask
or
me,
is
it's
it
got
both?
to be drama. It's got to be drama because here's my thing, right? And I'm not saying people don't do it because people definitely do it, but why would you and how could you hate somebody or have ill feelings towards somebody that you don't even know? People
I
don't
mean,
even really.
here's why. This is a conversation I had, and I'll send you the screenshots offline after we're done with the live. But this is one of the few conversations I had about Lori Harvey when I didn't know what was going on. It was a news article, and the news article was like Lori B. Harvey, Michael B. Jordan broke up. I was looking in the comments, and there was people mad. I didn't know what was going on. All I saw was that she broke up. So the first comment I saw was, "See, fellas, this is why for women like this, you have to." Basically, he was saying, "Pump it up. You got to use them for sex and then discard them. Don't get serious with them. Just have sex with them. Don't put your feelings or emotion into them. Just use them for sex." And I commented on it, and I was like, "What do you mean by women like her? What did she do?" Because I Googled it and I was like, I didn't see her doing anything except for dating people while in her 20s. And he was like, that's exactly what I mean. And then he went on to explain how women in their 20s, if they're dating people, if they're dating multiple men, then they don't, the same thing I said earlier. She needs to be humbled. She needs to be used and discarded. She is now only worth sex. Or if she's a single mom, like I said earlier, she's now only worth sex. She's not worth long-term relationship. We're gonna manipulate her for some sex, and then we're gonna discard her. And I'm like, this don't seem like drama to me. This seems like there is internal hatred in him. Maybe he's an incel and it makes him angry that she's out of his league and she's dating and she's not dating him. I don't know why, but it seems like these men are extremely mad, like vitriolic. Like, can you imagine having a daughter and your daughter is 18, 19, dating, and some grown man, this man was like 49 or 50, by the way, who I was talking to. Some grown man is like, because she's dating, that now gives me justification to manipulate her into sex and then discard her as if she's a sexual object. Like, do you not see any hate in this? And this is just one example of a conversation I had with a man about this situation, but it echoes in every single comment section I see, on every single TikTok and every single Facebook post, Instagram, wherever. There are just men like, usually, let me see, I went to a Kevin Samuels they repost his stories and stuff. It's like a fan page, and they were like, "See, guys, you gotta. Why are these guys giving these women attention? You need to just be basically fucking them and then leaving." And I don't know. That seems like hate to me. You don't think so, Key?
So I mean, I guess that could be hate, but I think more or less what I was saying is I don't think it's direct hate at Lori Harvey. I think Lori Harvey goes into that category. So these men do have, if you ask me, okay, these men do have hate built up towards the
Women in
category
general.
of women that she fits into when I said the hot girl status or the popular girl. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
I think Lori Harvey definitely fits in that category. She's an attractive young lady. Um, you know what I mean? Her technically adopted father, but her father, you know what I mean, is a very popular man. He's a successful man. Her family in general is successful, you know what I mean? And then she's good looking, she's a model, you know what I mean? She's an entrepreneur, she does what she does. So, like I said, she fits into that category. So a lot of men, and I won't say it's every man because every man is not out here on that level. There are a lot of men though that came up through the ranks, you know what I mean, that just never really got to talked to or got their chance with the popular girl or the hot girl. So now they're just forever stuck with that grudge inside of them that they don't deserve happiness because they didn't give me a chance. Okay, well, I mean, maybe you just weren't what they were looking for at that time, and maybe you just won't ever be. So yes, I do think that is some sort of hate built up towards that category of women. But when I speak particularly about Lori Harvey, I think it's just for the sake of drama, because she's a celebrity and these guys don't know her. If they knew her personally and they were talking like this because of personal experience, because of, personally knowing her, personal relationships,
Hmm.
then it could be geared towards, okay, are they just hating her because they knew her, they went to high school with her, maybe college, they knew her personally. Now they're hating her, maybe. But right now, it's drama. It's drama because she's a celebrity.
I think I'm a half agree with you. I do think it's not specific to Lori Harvey. Like I said, we talked about Cardi B, we talked about shit, Megan Thee Stallion, Sierra. I think there is hate, and that hate is towards a certain type of woman, not just Lori Harvey. But I still think it's hate nonetheless, and it might even be some internal hatred to the. I don't know. Maybe they're losers. They can't get these women. Some of them call themselves incels. That means involuntarily celibate, like they can't have sex because they're not good enough, so it's involuntary. I don't know, but I think there's definitely at the very least there is some sort of hatred towards women in general from these types of men, as well as some sort of internal hatred, because I don't know that successful men, for example, not even the men who are dating Lori Harvey, besides Future, and he's degenerate, so I don't really care what he talks about. But even the men who've dated her, they never come out like she's a hoe, she's ratchet, I can't stand her. No, these established men are like, we dated, we're done. But the men who are not even established, right? Your local crackhead, the men in the barbershop, the men in school, the men at your job who you converse with about this stuff, the men in the locker room who aren't even, well, they're not even in her financial bracket to be discussing this. These men are like, wow, I can't believe this hoe. She no longer qualifies for me. Keep in mind, this is me, Prince Petty, right? I have three people watching right now. Imagine if I Beyonce tomorrow came out and said she had a threesome, and I said, "Oh wow, what a hoe." Beyonce, she no longer qualifies for me. If I ever get with Beyonce, I'm just gonna use her for sex and then discard her. I'm not even. I don't think Beyonce is ever going to be watching this channel ever. I don't think Beyonce is ever going to be checking for me. I don't think she's ever going to be checking for men in my financial bracket ever, and I do quite well. So why is I'm not gonna read the comments. Why are these men who don't qualify for Lori Harvey mad, but the men who she's actually dating, aside from Future, and again I don't care because he's degenerate, are why are they personally offended? Yeah, like Bia said, it seems like they're personally offended. Maybe it's not hate, Key. Maybe it's just personal offense. Like, how dare she? This woman who is not checking for me, how dare she date? Literally, that's the critique, right? She's dating. Keep in mind, she hasn't done, we don't know what she's done yet besides dating and not marrying him. That is the critique from men, and their response is, now I'm going to use her for, if I get with this woman, I'm going to use her for sex and then discard her. Key, I think you're on mute. Okay.
My bad. Yeah, I was on mute. But no, I was gonna say, um, yeah. So this is the thing. This is kind of comical if you ask me, because personally, I've never been one of those guys. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it is what it is, right? It's funny because, like you just said, these are men that, and people in general, because it may be some women. Like I said, and Michael B. Jordan being who he is unfortunate, because there are women that are gonna be upset with Lori Harvey too. You know what I mean? But that is what it is. These are people in general who are nowhere near the social status, the financial class, the level of success, and anything that this woman has attained already, being just a young 25 years old. She's got a ton of life left to live, a ton of life left to do a whole lot more than what she's already done. And she's already done this right now. You know what I
Oops.
mean? So,
Hmm.
yeah, okay, people are going to be upset. But like I said before, these are just people that they never got that chance to be with that person, and not just her, but they never got that chance to be with that person. They had a high school crush that happened to be the most popular girl in school, and she only dated the athletes or whatever. They never got that chance, and now they're 35 years old bagging groceries at the local grocery store, and their wife, you know what I mean, she's a stay-at-home mom in a 1-bedroom house with 5 kids. You know what I mean? And it's very unfortunate. However, if they get a chance to comment on or degrade somebody else who is doing much better, the first thing that is racking their mind is the fact that they never got that chance with that popular girl in school. So they want to pin everything that is going on in their life right now, having 5 kids in a 1-bedroom with a wife who probably nobody else is looking at besides them. They want to pin that on the fact that that popular girl never gave them a chance. Those are the type of people, or that popular guy, whatever. Those are the type of people that are speaking out. Now, these guys that she dated and it didn't work out, and obviously they're not for any reason talking down on her because she probably didn't do anything wrong. She probably genuinely was in a relationship and it genuinely didn't work out, and then two people broke up. Like I said, it wouldn't even be a big deal if they weren't celebrities, but they are, so we get to discuss it and get to look at it publicly. But they're not
High
saying anything because
vitamin.
nothing probably happened. Nothing wrong happened out of that relationship besides the fact that they didn't work out. Simple. But those dudes are dudes that have been doing that. They've been talking to popular women. They've been with women that are, just as successful, if not more, or if not, in a better position than Lori Harvey herself. They've been doing that. So they don't have any reason to be like, oh, she ain't worth my time. She ain't worth nothing. She doesn't deserve good treatment. No, especially somebody like Future, and we all know Future, he would want good things to happen to her, even if the thing didn't work out with him. He would want good things to happen. You know what I mean? So I think that is really the reason. It's just that you got to look at where people are in their life, their own life, to see why they say what they say about other people who are doing much better than them.
So can we agree these men have some sort of internal hatred because they can't rise up to that standard that Lori requires, and so they are demanding that high Bia and high vitamin. I think I said high earlier, but let me say it again. But can we agree that these men have some sort of internal hatred that they can't meet that standard, and maybe that's why they have this vitriol about her not settling for men who they deem worthy? Can we agree there?
For sure, I agree with that.
Okay, now we got 7 minutes left because we actually 7 minutes over the time I want it to be. So my final questions are: number one, why do people assume Michael B. Jordan is a good guy? Like we talked about earlier, um, we don't know Michael B. Jordan. We know his image, right? He has bought her flowers publicly. He's done some nice stuff for her publicly. They're very lovey-dovey publicly, but we don't know, does this man have childhood trauma? Does this man get therapy if he has mental health issues? Does this man, is he abusive within the context of his relationship? What are his values? Does he share the same values that Lori Harvey shares? And the answer to those questions, I don't know. And like we talked about earlier, you don't know. No men that we talk to know, no women that we talk to know, because we're not in that relationship. So why is there this assumption that because Michael B. Jordan buys her nice things, he's a nice guy? And again, tying it with my other question, because he's a nice guy and she doesn't want to be with him, why there's this need to humble her? So yeah, no, the first question, why is there the assumption that he's a nice guy just because publicly he buys her nice stuff? And the second question just ties into, why do people feel the need to humble her for not being with someone they deem to be a nice guy?
Okay, I like that question. The first question I like. The second we kind of really went over, but the
Yeah.
first one I like that question. You can never tell what kind of person you are dealing with or what kind of person somebody is dealing with based on what happens in public. And I'm a firm believer in that because I think that when people's hands are forced, 9 times out of 10, that person is going to fold. And when I say that, I say if you are out in public and even though you have all these issues within your relationship at home and you do what you do to your spouse at home, be it man or woman, when you are out in public, you are viewed as a person that you can't do that out in public. You're viewed in the eye that you can't do that. So your hand is kind of forced. Yeah, your spouse may make you mad and make you upset. And normally at home, you would slap them, you would cuss them out, do whatever. But when you're out in public, you're like, whoa, I can't do that, right? You
Hmm.
cannot determine that. So just because he's buying flowers, taking on nice dates, the dude's got money. I would hope that he could afford some flowers and afford a nice date. You know what I mean? Because somebody with far less money is able to do that. You know what I mean? On a regular
Yeah.
basis, like us, on a regular basis. So if we could do that with no issue, I would hope he could do that. Now, granted, we may post these things on social media, Facebook, Snap, whatever you post on, and it doesn't get any attention. But like I said, being that he is who he is, he gets that attention. But that does not mean that he is a good guy. He is a nice guy. And like you said, the only reason I think that maybe he has that kind of viewing is because people that actually study people or focus on people's lives, you know what I mean, far more than I do, and I'm sure far more than you do. They look at the whole person of Michael B. Jordan, right? So being that he is who he is and he's done what he's done and, you know, whatever he says and stuff, they wouldn't let him live if he was viewed as a negative guy. You know what I mean? They wouldn't let him live.
I have a question to tie into that, but
Go ahead.
go ahead. Okay, well, my other question was, why don't people have the same smoke for Michael B. Jordan? Because the things that they're accusing Lori Harvey of doing, like dating a lot of people within a short space, being 25 and unmarried, which is another one of my questions we'll answer later, or having multiple sexual partners, which we don't know if she does because we don't know her sex life. Michael B. Jordan has done all of that. Me and you went through these. Well, I did. I went through and told you about these. Their dating history earlier. They actually have a very similar dating history where they date someone for a few months, break up. A couple months later, they're dating someone else, break up. But Michael B. Jordan is not getting the same smoke that she's getting. And my question is, why is he not? If they're doing exactly the same thing, and people are extremely upset at her for doing this thing, why are they not also extremely upset at him?
And see, I actually have a very good answer for this, I believe. Because I'm going to say it like this, right? It's very unfortunate for the social life, right, of a woman. It's very unfortunate. And here's why. Like I said earlier, what does Michael B. Jordan do currently? What has he done? How is he viewed in comparison to Lori Harvey? Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, she's successful in her own way, her own line, and what she does. She's successful. However, she's a model, right? So I guess that is her most prominent thing, you know, for her life. She's a model. Models come a dime a dozen. There's a ton of them. The modeling industry is way more broad now than it has ever been, right?
The acting industry is not?
No, I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not. But I'm saying this. When I look at, not me, just personally, but when people look at Michael B. Jordan, what is the first thing that people can think of? You know, one of the first couple things you're going to think of when you think of Michael B. Jordan. Okay, he did Black Panther. The
white women he's dating?
No. That's not what people think of first. Not when it comes to Michael B. Jordan. He's different. That's why I said he's viewed differently. And it's unfortunate, but he is. When you think of Michael B. Jordan, you look at him, you hear the name, what do you think of? Oh, he did Black Panther. That's a big time thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Everybody was all over that. What the box movie he did, the Creed. He did the Creed movie. Like, you know, those are things that people are looking at, and so they view Michael B. Jordan on this pedestal that he could do no wrong, you know, so to speak. That's kind of how he's viewed. Or he's viewed, like I said earlier, he's viewed in a way that if he was a bad guy or if he ever came out as a bad guy, people wouldn't let him live. They would do him bad. You know what I mean? Like they did Will Smith recently from his events. They would do Michael B. Jordan the same way. They would do him bad because they view him on a pedestal.
I hard disagree. Hard disagree. Hard disagree. Check out what happened to Will Smith. Grown man assaulted another grown man, right? Keep in mind, Will Smith has full bodily autonomy because we did another live about this. He has full bodily autonomy. He can control his body, went up of his own accord and assaulted a grown man. And who did people come after? Not Will Smith. People came after, some of the women I know came after Will Smith for assaulting that man, but most of the people came after who? They came after Jada. They said she was mind controlling him. They said she gave him a signal.
But I also recall, and I will not even exaggerate when I say this, I recall hundreds of posts, like obviously multiple were copies or whatever. But I recall hundreds of posts of people saying, bro, you slapped Chris for just saying that. What'd you do to August? You slapped the wrong guy. You know, everybody kept going back and forth between that situation with August too. I recall that happening hundreds of times. So I do think that Will Smith definitely got the slander that he was due for that situation. Now, yes, obviously, a lot of people did go after Jada, blaming her for whatever took place,
But
and
here, let me
trying
let
to
me
put that
pause
on
you.
her.
Let me pause you so I can express what my problem was with that situation in particular and how I think it ties in with this. The problem in that situation, in my mind, is that Jada did not do anything to warrant critique in the first place. We're talking about the slap specifically. Remember what happened in the video? Chris Rock makes a joke about her bald head. She's displeased because she has a disease that makes her bald, and she doesn't find the joke funny, and she rolls her eyes. That's what she did. What Will Smith did was got up and assaulted another grown man. All of the blame should have gone to Will Smith. There shouldn't have been a back and forth, like you said, where, yeah, I see Jada's getting some flack, but also Will is getting some smack. No, there shouldn't have been any smack for her. She had her disease made fun of. If anything, I probably would have walked out, and I think her response was tame. But yet she's getting flack for that. And like we see in this situation, Lori Harvey and Michael B. Jordan have a mutual breakup because he would like to continue the relationship. She would not. They're no longer compatible. She is getting the majority of, if not all of the flack, while he is getting none. That's why I compared those situations, because the man in those situations is arguably the worst one if we're going by the standard of what they called Lori Harvey bad for doing, which is dating and not marrying young. Then Michael B. Jordan does that, and arguably worse because he's 10 years her senior and he's still unmarried. But he is not getting the same flack from men that Lori Harvey is. And
And
that's
I
why
will agree
that's
with
why I
that.
made the
And I will agree with that solely because, as we looked at before and as we talked about it before, it is just, if you ask me, the main reason, not the only reason, because obviously everybody has their own reasons and they're entitled to whatever their opinions are. And I agree with that, right? Whatever your opinion is, you're entitled to that. But my opinion is the main reason is because of who they are and how they're viewed. You know what I'm saying? Like I said multiple times earlier, it's Michael B. Jordan. When you think of the name, when you see the face, the guy was, and like I said, I don't keep up with this whole celebrity thing. That's not my thing. I think that the guy was put on a pedestal similar because, I'm a big Will Smith fan when it comes to acting, huge Will Smith fan. So Michael B. Jordan is on a pedestal to where all of his fans, all of the fans that are fans of the movies, fans of him as a guy, whatever, they have him on this pedestal like he is the one that is getting done wrong, if anything, because they don't know anything about this guy. Now, granted, they don't know anything about Lori Harvey either, but they don't view her the way they view him. All I'm saying is they don't view her the way they view him. So if anything goes down when it comes to him, right? So you know how kids are when kids are tied to one person specifically and they feel like that person could do no wrong. You know what I mean, so to speak? They feel like somebody can do no wrong. So if that person does do wrong, it upsets them greatly and they're like, no, it can't be their fault. They couldn't have done anything wrong. I think that is how Michael B. Jordan is viewed in this particular instance. He's viewed as the person that can do no wrong, so it can't be him. It's
I
got to
mean,
be her.
again with the
That's not
comparison I
my
made with
thinking. That is just what I think. That is just what the view is on this
from a
situation.
societal, would you think that's a societal thing, that how men view other men in general versus how they view women? Because again, with Will Smith, who should have gotten a lot more flack in my opinion for assaulting another grown man, like you said, he has a lot of stands, so they were excusing his behavior. And here we have Michael B. Jordan again. I guess everyone is excusing his behavior, which I don't think is bad, but it must be bad because it's bad in Lori. Does it matter if the man is established or not? It seems like there's just a hall pass for men to do something, but once women do that same thing, regardless of their status, like you're saying, regardless of if that man has some public clout or he's established or whatever, it seems like men are given a hall pass to do stuff in society in general. And then when women do that something, it's here we are, Lori Harvey is a hoe for not getting married. And then we're gonna go through after you answer, we're gonna go through some of the comments, and I'm gonna wrap up with the last few questions.
Okay, I'll keep it short because I completely agree with what you just said on the whole fact of men being given a hall pass and um, not talked about the same way whenever it comes to women doing the exact same thing that men are doing. That is something, like I said, we're not gonna go off on a tangent. I don't won't on that. That is something that transpired throughout society, throughout the years, that I'm sure every woman is familiar with. Every woman, whether you be famous or bottom of the barrel, they're familiar with that. Whether you have had 100 boyfriends or you are just starting on your first. Doesn't matter age. Every woman, I think, is familiar with that whole hall pass given to men over women. That's something that was created throughout society that, I mean, it's really tough to change things like that. Like we've discussed multiple times on this, on the channel. It's hard to change things in society that have been established for such a long period of time. But I definitely think that is true. I think that is the case in this instance, as well as in the instance with Will and Jada, as well as in multiple instances. But specifically for this one, yeah, I think that is the case.
Hi, True Mystique. Hi, JB. Hi, Danny T. Welcome. We're very ghetto over here. I'm gonna go in order from when we were talking about the nice guy thing. She said he could be a pseudo nice guy. I don't like. Well, we talked about that. He's putting on a performance in public, but we don't know what goes on in private. We don't know Michael B. Jordan and his trauma and his history. All we know that is from the outside looking in, he seems like a nice guy. That doesn't warrant you to want Lori Harvey to humble herself to date him because he seems like a nice guy, because we don't know what's going on the inside. But even if we do, like this one says, even if, yeah, look at them saying what I was gonna say. Even if he is a nice guy in private, she is still entitled to not want to marry him, even if he is nice. Nice is I don't know why nice is used as a just like, I don't know why it's used for dating. You're supposed to be nice. You're supposed to
I
be
would say that.
respectful.
I was going to say the exact
Yeah.
same thing if you didn't put it out there. I
Like, he
don't
held
know
the door
why
open
that is
for
the
you. How could
standard.
you? Why
Yes,
wouldn't you
that
sleep with
should
him?
not be the standard on anybody determining if they're going to be with anybody as far as a relationship goes. Oh, they're nice. That's the standard right there. It's set. They're nice to me. I got to be with them. I got to have this relationship. That should be the very, very bare minimum, if you ask me. If you talking to somebody or you trying to be with somebody and that person is treating you terribly or not treating you respectfully, which is not nice in my opinion, why are you even there wasting your time? So yeah, definitely should not be a standard at all.
Why is it a strong qualifier? It shouldn't be Mystique. Yeah, I don't think anybody wants it to be a strong qualifier, at least over here. It does seem like in society in general, people want it to be a strong qualifier. Obviously, because we have nice guys, which we've talked about before. She has a skincare company. Yeah, she does. Like, Lori is very established. She makes a lot of money. She's in her own right, even though she stays out of the private eye about her personal life. She's a very established woman. So the I mean, I guess, Key, I will agree with you about her not being seen like Michael B. Jordan is seen and her not having the clout. But again, even if Michael B. Jordan didn't have the clout, I think he would get a hall pass because he's a man. They are figuratively ringing the shame bell because Lori H has dropped these men off 2022, contrary to their argument that men control marriage. And what she's talking about, Key, is there's a saying that women control access to sex and men control access to marriage. However, in this case, obviously, it seems like Michael B. Jordan wanted to get married, but Lori was not having it because he did not meet the standard, or just because she wasn't ready. I don't know, but I guess that's false. Men don't control access to marriage. It's almost like it takes two people to agree to have sex or to agree to get married, but whatever. Nah,
Yeah,
because
who's
I had a
counting?
whole. I don't know if you watched Themis and Thoth, but I told you about it before. But it was a whole dude having a discussion about how men cannot control sex. Men can't control whether or not they have sex. Women do. And I don't know. Forget bodily autonomy. They're in an open marriage. Yeah, Jada and Will were in an open marriage, which he admitted to, I think, on one of the Red Table Talks, and that he sleeps with other women as well. He also admitted that on the Red Table Talk. And he also admitted some other stuff about how he and Jada's mother pressured her into getting married when she didn't want to, which is crazy because these people, society, it seems like now is trying to pressure Lori Harvey to settle down and get married now that she's 25. And, oh, the wall's coming and your eggs are going to dry up. You'll see once you a single mom with 3 kids, then she's going to be looking for a good man, whatever. I don't know.
Which is
But,
wicked. And I won't hold on. I won't go crazy on that. But I really can't stand that whole thing where people say that thing, like you said, hey, you need to get married, that wall's coming, your eggs about to dry, whatever. That woman could go her entire life and never want to bear a child at all, like never want to have one child. And what is the issue with that? Society gonna have everything to say about it. Or she could get to 40 years old. Didn't Janet Jackson have a kid at 40 years old, or am I mistaken? but I believe she had a kid at 40 years old.
Mm.
I'm sure one of the women in the comments might know what I'm talking about, but I believe she was like pretty old whenever she had her kid, and everybody was like, wow, like you don't even know. Like, I guess they were just confused that she could even still have kids that age. But I'm like, okay, if people take care of themselves, I mean, there are people in their 70s that have kids that are able to have a kid at 70. So that whole thing right there, mute argument, if you ask me, very mute argument.
It's I don't even necessarily think it's a bad argument. You want to have children before you get old because the complications of pregnancy, blah blah blah. I don't think that's a bad argument. I do think people should wait until they're older to have children. But if you're on the side where you're like these women need to have children in their 20s, then you have to be on the side that these men also need to be having children in their 20s, because we talk about how pregnancy complications come along once you're in your 30s as women, but also around 35, men also begin to decline, which is the same age as women. Men, your fertility also begins to decline as well, which I've researched a little bit. Like your
Right.
sperm no longer wiggles like it's supposed to. You start getting that erectile dysfunction. And even when you do impregnate a woman, the pregnancy becomes less viable when you're older, again, due to your low fertility. So it's like, if you're on the side that these women their eggs are going to dry up and they need to have babies in their 20s, then why is there not also this outrage for Michael B. Jordan, he's 10 years her senior, and does he have children? Does Michael B. Jordan have children? Let me Google it real quick. I don't think he has children, yo. Hold up. Does Michael B. Jordan have children? Somebody please. Does Michael B. Jordan have children? Damn, he got 7 children? I ain't never heard of these folks. This man had Victoria Jordan, Isabel Jordan. This man has 7 children? What? Is this man a single father? Let me find out. Michael B. Jordan has 7 broken homes, and people are mad at Lori for it. Let me find out. I need to research this a little more. It should be normal. You can be nice and broke. You can be nice and incompetent. Yeah, being nice it should be the bare minimum, right? Respecting another human should be the bare minimum, but apparently it's extremely valuable, and it's a main qualifier if you're a nice guy. Different belief system. Yeah, nobody talked about their values. Nobody talked about their morals. Everybody talked about the fact that Michael B. Jordan got her some flowers. He bought her some nice stuff. Why didn't she marry him? Yeah, forget compatibility, forget all of that. He bought her flowers. See, that's the problem with you women. You don't appreciate when a man is a nice guy. Women don't want nice guys like me. Where's my banner? Where's my goddamn banner? There we go. I'm such a nice guy. These women only want bad boys. They don't want a nice guy like me. They only want assholes. I'm so nice. She had a kid at 50. Okay, Janet Jackson did have some children at 50. He's childless. Okay. He don't have kids. I swear I just Googled, does Michael B. Jordan have kids?
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan doesn't have kids, and Janet Jackson was 50. Thank you for that. But yeah, so that's the thing. I don't understand why that would even be an argument. You know what I mean?
Because his sperm have dried up. His sperm have dried up. And that's what they're saying about Lori. Her eggs have dried up. So this man's sperm have dried up, but don't nobody care.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing is that's not even the case, and it's not true clearly, because if
that's
it
not
was,
true.
what if that's the case? Why did what gave Janet Jackson the ultimate ability to reverse time and have a kid at 50 years old? And I'm not saying every woman can do it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying every woman can. But what I'm saying is, and especially among the Black community for sure, is they have the ability, Black people have the ability to have kids at a much older and longer rate than any other race of people. And it stems back to a whole lot of science stuff and a whole lot of stuff that goes way beyond conversation, but they do. Like they do.
I didn't know that. It's to my knowledge, Black women have more complications with pregnancy, but I think
I'm not saying as far as complication goes, I'm saying the sheer ability to produce the children.
I didn't know that.
Producing the kid and having the kid, you know what I mean? Those are different. Like, you can get pregnant and be able to have a kid. Now, okay, I'm not saying you can have issues or not have issues, but what I'm saying is people go their lives and struggle. Do you know people struggle on a day-to-day basis to have kids at the ripe prime age of 25, 26, in the ripe age? They struggle to have kids, struggle with fertility. But like Black people specifically, they hardly that you know of, when you look it up, they hardly have issues getting pregnant. Now, carrying it, the baby to full term and all that, whole different conversation. But what I'm saying is, as far as getting pregnant and having kids, it happens for a long time and at later ages among the Black community. It does
I mean,
a
black
lot.
don't crack. I've heard that a lot. Black don't
See,
crack.
and that
So
is part
I
of it.
wouldn't
Like I
be.
said, it's a whole lot of science and a whole lot of stuff that I won't go into. But if you actually want to look it up, like, you can look it up and you will see that is actually very true. Like, I'm not just making it up. It's
Yeah,
very
I'll look
true.
it up. Send it to me, or yeah, I'll look it up after this. But we got three final questions, and I'm gonna try and get through those real quick. And of course, if anybody in the comments has any questions they want to address, just let me know, and I'll put it on the screen. But the final three questions. Number one, why do men want her to compromise her standards? Because her standard apparently is to, okay, they're at a point where he wants to marry, she don't, and that's why they broke up. So her standard is either we need to date longer, I need to know more about you or whatever before we get married, even though it's been a year, which is arguably a long time. But or her standard is you don't meet my standard for marriage. So why do people want her to not abide by her standard and lower it? Which again, we talked about him being such a good guy, so it's unfair how you want what more. It's like, what more do you want? There's like this public outcry. What more do you want? How dare you? Why do people want her to lower her standards?
I don't even feel like I need to talk very long or should on that one. It's just what I said before. People are looking at Michael B. Jordan the way they look at Michael B. Jordan, and that's the reason why they think that she should lower her standards and who she is whenever it comes to personal relationships. You know what I mean? To subdue and compromise and to be with Michael B. Jordan because of who he is. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. I don't.
Vitamin. I don't know the legitimacy of vitamins comments. I don't know that you can breed black people. I'm not denying it because I'm not a biologist or anything, but I don't know that you can breed humans. Can you well, I mean, obviously you can, because tall people begin with tall people and they
So
make some
so what I'm gonna
basketball
say
players.
about what she's saying is what I'm gonna say about what she's saying. I won't try to go. I'm gonna try not to go too far, but I'll break it down and make it make sense. She said we were bred to breed. So what she's meaning is when you look at, right, look at the genetic makeup of black people, and if there's anybody else watching, do not take what I say, because anybody can tell you about me that knows me. I'm not, I have no racial feelings towards anybody, but I'm gonna just say it blunt, right? I'm gonna say it blunt. What she's saying is look at the genetic makeup and look at the physical makeup of black people compared to every other race. Bigger, stronger, faster, just everything. Like, look at everything as far as the makeup of black people. That's what she's saying when she's saying we were bred to breed.
Okay, I mean, I'll look into it. I'm not a biologist, so I'm not going to confirm nor deny it. Hi, Deanne.
So
I think your mic's cutting out, Key. Okay, your mic's cutting out, so I'm going to here. Let me do this. And now you're on mute. I'm going to pose the next question. The next question was, why are men mad at her for dating multiple people? Again, I don't feel like it's bad to date in your 20s. Like, I don't have a lot to say about this because the fact that there's outrage over it in the first place is confusing to me. You're 25, you're dating somebody, it doesn't work out, so y'all break up and then you date somebody else. That's I don't know, that seems normal to me, but apparently she's a hoe. She's a thought. She's passed around, she's for the streets because she's dating more than one person in her 20s. Like we talked about earlier, they were saying that the time frame, like there's not enough time in between the men she dates, but it's like she dates people for maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe two, three, or in this case a year, and then a few weeks or a month later she's dating someone else. That seems like a normal time frame to me, so I don't know why there's outrage. And maybe you could argue maybe she needs to spend more time self-care, maybe go to therapy, see why things aren't working out, or maybe she's just dating and things didn't work out and she moved on. So I don't know why it's such a hubbub about it, but there is. Did you have anything to say on that, Key?
Nope, nothing at all. I completely agree. People date to date. If it works out, continue. If it doesn't work out, you break up. the minute you find out it's not going to work out.
So the comments are saying that men are losing the control that they have, and that's why they're mad at her having high standards. I think that's what she was saying. Because now they don't have any control over her. They can't meet the standard. First of all, okay, never mind. I'm not gonna say what I wanted to say because it had to do with Jack Harlow and the accusations that Lori is dating Jack Harlow right now, apparently. But I was gonna pull up that stuff we looked at earlier, Kiba. I'm not gonna do that. How dare she have standards? Yeah, people are mad at her because she has standards and they want her to lower her standards, which we saw with Sierra. We saw with Cardi B talking about she don't cook, she don't clean, and men being mad because she's married, and how dare she? So yeah, that was interesting. Who's to say she's sleeping with all those men? You can date multiple men and not sleep with them. At least that's what I do. Not True Mystique putting herself out here. Yeah, I think he and I might have talked about that earlier in this live, or maybe before we started. But the fact that when you go over to the Manosphere, who happen to be the same people who are extremely mad at Lori Harvey right now, but when you go over there, there is this complaint from men in general that they take women out on dates and the women don't sleep with them. And it's like, how dare you? I paid for the date, I paid the majority of the bills, but she don't want to sleep with me. So apparently there's this crisis that men are having where they're taking women on dates, but they're not getting any sex. But simultaneously, they're also mad at these women for going on dates with other men, and they're assuming that when they go on the dates with other men, they're having sex with them, which to me seems like a personal insecurity issue. It's the she don't want to sleep with me because I'm a good guy. She wants to sleep with Tyrone or whoever. So there's this assumption that if a woman is not dating you, she's sleeping with other men. If a woman's dating, she's sleeping with other men, while simultaneously they're saying that women aren't sleeping with them. So I don't know. Pick a side. We don't even know if all of her relationships were legit. We don't. Key and I went into her relationships earlier today in her dating history, and it's like some of these accusations, like the accusation about her dating Diddy and then dating Diddy's son, that's not confirmed. All we know is that she dated Diddy. There were rumors that she dated Diddy's son. There wasn't any proof, there wasn't any evidence, there are photos. It's just like people said she did. She didn't say she did. Diddy's son didn't say he dated her, and Diddy didn't say she dated her. So that's kind of an accusation, which was like literally my only thing about Lori Harvey is that she dated Diddy and then dated his son. And then when we did the research today, we found out that's not even true. So that's just a rumor they're going off of that they are legitimizing. And then the other relationships, like she said, we don't know that they were legit. It's like a picture of her sitting with somebody at a party and they call it a relationship. And then some of them are like a week long. Maybe it was a day or something. So no, I don't think we know whether or not these are legitimate. Somehow you're supposed to pick right, but you're not supposed to learn what's out there or compare. You got to stick it the first time. Yeah, you cannot date if you're a woman. Do not date. You date one man when you're 18, and you better pray God he's the right man, because you will now marry him and be with him for the rest of your life, and you're going to serve that man. And if you date more than one person, apparently, like we talked about earlier, these men are talking about she is only worth using for sex. And when I asked this man, why is your goal to manipulate her for sex? What did she do outside of dating? He said that is the problem. She's dating in her 20s. So he was advising the other men in the comments that I was on the comment section to use women like this for sex only. And I was talking to Key about how that's scary, because what if you have a daughter and she's 18, 19, 20 and she's dating, and these grown men, this man I was talking to was like 49 or 50. These grown men are like, she's she's a 20-year-old woman dating, so I now have the right to use her sexually and then discard her because she's asking for it. It's like this, I don't know, there's like this need for these men to justify what they're doing, and the way they justify it is by this misogynistic view of you're a hoe. If you're a woman and you're dating, you're a hoe. I assume you're having sex with all these men. So I don't know. Yes, they are confusion via. They think they can buy a woman's entire body and genetic legacy for the cost of dinner. Nope, it's not 1865 and the auction block is closed. Apparently, they think the auction block is open. Like, I don't know. I don't. Why is there? Y'all know I'm a 50-50 person. Like, so I'm not buying dinner. That's a lie. I buy dinner because if I don't, they don't go out with me. So it is what it is. Uh, They can't complain about superficial women. No, you can't. How you want to pay your way into some sex and then you're mad that you're paying your way into some sex, but you're paying your way into some sex. Like you're expecting sex for your money. Cool. You're mad because you are. I don't know. It don't make sense. I'm not gonna try to make sense.
No, it just seems like they're doing that, right? Paying their way into sleeping with them, but then mad because that's the only way they can do it. I think that is the thing.
I don't know.
Like,
Maybe you should go on a date with someone who shares your same values and your same dreams and aspirations, and y'all vibe well together. And then maybe y'all might have sex naturally, and you won't have to be mad that you didn't get sex for dinner. Or maybe even if all that happens and you don't have sex, you don't have to be mad because nobody owes you sex for paying for their Applebee's 2 for $20. Like it's like the men who complain about it are. I don't want to say dusty. Not on this channel. We coddle black men here, but it's like you are taking this woman for a $20 dinner and you want her body and you're mad, but your finances are not. I don't know. I just feel like their income is too low to. I don't know. Fill in the blank, please. I don't. The whole manifesto is debunked. Choose right, but don't date. Yes, please, women, choose right, but don't date. Please, don't date, but choose right. And if you choose wrong, it's your fault. Pick better, please. That's all. Petty is splitting checks, spitting checks. No one wants to mess with them. I really think that's it. Nobody wants to mess with these men, and they're so mad that they're going after women who are extremely out of their league. Like, let me stop reading the comments so we can finish our questions. Okay, the last question. Why are people mad at her for not marrying young? Right? She's 25. And another specific angle I've seen is that let me read this. Let me read this Facebook post I read earlier. But you can answer that question. Why are people mad at her for not getting married at 25 and not settling down and tying the knot?
honestly and truly, that is one question that I will never have an answer for, because I have seen that and heard that through the years of relationships or whatever for different people. But that's one thing that I never understood, because just because your great great grandma Sally met your great great grandma Jerry, and they got married when they was 18, and you know what I
Not
mean,
to
they
use
knew
my grandparents' real name.
they
You
knew
better
who they
chill.
were going to be with for the rest of their life for 18, and now they've been married for 75 years. I hate to say this because I really, really hate to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. We are not in those times anymore. Very simply put, we are not in those times anymore.
No,
Not everybody's going to meet their spouse at 18 and get married and be married for 30, 40 years.
I
Probably not going
mean,
to happen as much these days as it did back in the day.
since you talk about since we talk about grandparents and you use my grandparents' legal names for whatever reason on this live, um, I asked my grandpa how he and grandma met. He told me one day they was walking home from school and he basically followed her home, and she was like, "Leave me alone." Whatever. And then the next day he did the same thing. She was like, "Stop, leave me alone." And he said, "Well, I just kept following her home every day, and eventually she was like, okay, well, let's go out." And we've been married for. They married like I think 3 or 4 weeks after that, and they've been married ever since. And that is my grandpa's love story. So when you said, "Hey, I hate to say it, but it's not like the old days," no, don't hate to say it. Like we don't. I don't think we need to be back there. This man
Yeah,
followed my
because that's
grandma.
the thing. If you do
I
something
couldn't
like
go
that
over
these
grandpa's
days,
house no more.
yeah, doing something like that in today's day and age, you only gonna get to make that trip home one time, and then they're gonna be scraping you up off the ground, yeah, because you're not gonna get to follow nobody's daughter home multiple days in a row.
I'm not gonna put these comments on screen. Y'all get off my grandpa. My grandpa was living in a different time. Yes, he was definitely a stalker though, and that was anyway. Here's the post I read. It's from a girl. I'm gonna call her Pick Me. So Pick Me said, "We live in a generation that thinks 25 is too young to get married and settle down." And she said this about Lori Harvey and Michael B. Jordan. "This generation raises young women to live their best life and waste their prime years hopping from bars to clubs and relationship to relationship. This young generation of women value their independency, career, money, nice clothes, and attention over a family. They don't want to swallow this hard pill until they're 40 plus with no husband, no kids to carry on their legacy. Lori Harvey represents the ideals of our generation: young, beautiful, successful, with no sense of pride in the true meaning of life, relationships. Prayfully, she gets aligned with the right mentors that'll help realize this truth. Now, Key, before you comment on that, let me comment on it. Um, my first issue is they didn't address men at all. It's like, see, that's the problem with you women these days. Y'all want to be independent, but what about the men who want to be independent? To the point where we have the manosphere, and they're teaching men, you better not get married young. Y'all better wait because marriage is a scam. Don't get, like, they teach men over there to hold off marriage for as long as they can, But nobody has an issue with that. But when it comes to Lori Harvey not being married at 25, like this girl made a whole Facebook post on this, which I can't put on the screen because her name is on it. But we live in a generation that thinks 25 is too young to get married and settle down. It is. I mean, if you look at the divorce statistics, the younger you are, the higher your divorce rates. And I think that's because you're not a developed person at 25. Even though your brain, I think, fully develops at 25, you're not a grown person. I don't know why there's this desire for you to marry younger and younger, particularly if you're a woman. Like, if you can put yourself back to when you were 18, Key, and envision the woman you were dating then. Is that the type of woman you would be with today? What about the type of woman that you dated at 21? What about 23, 24? Like, the women I dated when I was 18 were bad. Let's just put it like that without dragging anybody. They were bad women. The women I dated when I was 21 were bad. And it's not even that they were bad necessarily. It's I put up with more stuff. I compromised more. And then when I was 21, I was compromising with less, but I was still compromising. I was still lowering my standards. I didn't know who I was, what I wanted in a relationship even. And then I'm 24 and I'm like dating, and still I'm finding and exploring myself. Like, you change over time. The person you are when you're 18 and your standard of dating is different. And like they say, they want you to vet well, but how do you do that without gaining experience? Like I did when I was 18, and I learned, hey, there's a certain amount of shit that I'm not going to put up with. And then when I was 21, that became less and less and less until I'm here today. And probably when I'm 30, I might be dating a different type of woman if I still am. And then, once I'm 30, it's probably going to taper off. I found myself. I know what I want in a relationship due to my experience dating. I know how to vet better. I know how to circumvent red flags. So why is there this desire for people to get married younger when we already know that you're not, in my opinion, you're not mature enough to be married by the time you're 25? Not on average. I mean, obviously some people are. Number two, this generation raises young women to live their best life and waste their prime years. Again, there's this implication that women, your time is running out. You better hurry up and get married, or else your eggs gonna dry up. When, like we discussed earlier, the male fertility rate is around the same as women's. But there's not this urgency for men to get married. There's not this urgency for men to have children, even though they have your sperm die the same year that women's eggs die. Like, literally the same year, at about 35. This young generation of women value their independency, career, money, nice clothes, and attention over a family. They don't swallow this hard pill until they're 40 plus with no husband and no kids to carry on this legacy. Again, it's here's the scare tactic. Y'all ladies better get married once you're 40. No man's gonna want you. You're not gonna have no kids. You're not gonna be able to have kids. Who gonna carry on? It's like this scare tactic to scare you into compromising, lower your standards, humble yourself, or else you're never going to find a good man. You're going to, what they say, buy a dog and die alone, because nobody's going to want you. And then it compares Lori Harvey it places her as the center of what women represent these days. So they say Lori Harvey is synonymous. She represents the ideas of our generation. She's young, beautiful, successful, with no sense of pride in the true meaning of life, relationships. So now again, they are centering the true meaning of life for women specifically. She's addressing women specifically. She doesn't address men. Is your life purpose is male centric. You better find a man, because if you don't, you're going to regret it, and your life is going to have no purpose. You're not going to have kids. Blah 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 blah. That's the post, man. Did you have any comment on that? That was pretty much the last thing.
Oh, definitely. And I'm gonna just say two things.
Are you eating? Are you eating, Key?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
And it's really bad on live. I know. I'm sorry.
Uh,
Okay, I want to say two things. One is, in short, I just looked at the comments and I seen where JB said uh to think back on that some of those relationships only lasted because women had no choice and they were forced to stay in them. That right there, that comment right there sums up everything that I wanted to say and tried to say earlier about the past when women were getting married at 18 and married for 77 years and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Uncle Jerry and Aunt Sally.
mm-hmm.
That's what was happening. Women weren't afforded the opportunity to be themselves back in the day. I'm not going to go into a tangent on that. That's a whole different topic. Women were not allowed to be themselves back in the day. They were not allowed to find themselves. They were not allowed to say, I am me. This is what I like. This is what I like to do. This is who I. They were not even allowed to do that. So therefore, when a man approached them in a way that, hey, I like you, I find you attractive, nobody else has claimed you, so to speak, you are mine. They didn't have a choice. That's where they went, and that's what they done until they stopped doing it or died. So that's that. Now, secondly, I don't understand why, as societal, as a society, right? I don't understand why there is so many people, like there are so many people out there that have a problem with people spending years, and I say years as in like 10 to 15 years, right? And I won't speak on about the women we dated or whatever being younger. Okay, yeah, things have changed. I mean, I'm 27 and I still feel like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there may be some other type of woman that I may like in this lifetime at some point. You know what I mean? Other than the previous women that I've liked or talked to or about, there may be somebody else that I like. You know what I mean? So I don't understand why society has created such a problem with people spending years figuring out what exactly it is that they like, what they don't like, what they can tolerate, what they're willing to compromise with, and what they want to do or who they want to spend their time with. I don't
Hmm.
understand why that's such a problem, but I feel like it
I think I
is.
know why. I'm gonna put it on the screen once I find it, but you can continue.
No, I'm just saying I feel like that is a problem. Like I feel like that's something society has created. Is like you shouldn't spend 10 years of your life. Now, this is not me. This is what's, as a societal view. You shouldn't spend 10 years of your life dating multiple people, doing multiple things, trying to figure out what it is that you like and don't like. Society has just created this stigma that that's a bad thing. If you date 15 people in 5 years, it's a bad thing. If you date 15 people in 1 year, it's a bad thing because you don't know what you like. You don't know who you like. You don't know what you're willing to talk. Like, how is that a bad thing? You know what I mean? And I feel like it's the same way with the job market, but I won't speak on that. But for relationship's sake, I don't understand why that's a bad thing. If I date a woman and I don't like you 2 weeks after we start talking, that's it. If I can't do what we what I want to do 2 weeks after we start talking, that's it. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
I mean, according to True Mystique, the reason that happens is because these types of people are miserable and they want other people to be miserable because misery loves company. Which I mean, I think that's in some form true. Like the way that men talk about relationships is like divorce in particular or leaving a relationship in particular. It's like, no, how dare you? You need to stay in that relationship and make it work. That's the problem. These women are breaking up marriages. And I'm like, why, yeah, like you said, why is there this desire for you to stay in this relationship and you better struggle and you better just figure it out instead of leaving because leaving is bad. You are now a hoe. They're mad because they don't have a template to manage their lives now, and they're really mad that the old ones from 1950 or older do not work. Key, I think that ties into what you were saying about how back in the day women don't have rights, right? Which I think I spoke about on Themis a few days ago. Um, Back in the day, if you're a woman, excuse me, if you're a man, you don't have to do a lot. You have a job and you're a nice guy. You don't even have to be a nice guy. Matter of fact, just have a job. So if I'm a woman, I have less option back then. I can't work. I can't educate myself. I need a man. I quite literally need a man to provide for me. So the standard is lower. Now women have rights and they are able to be more selective about their partner. You have to do more than be a nice guy. You have to do more than just have money. And it seems like men have not moved along well. Like men have not adapted well. It's like a crisis, and I understand that it's a crisis. I think it's a crisis. Like men who used to be socially awkward or who used to be outcast or who used to be lame or whatever could still get a girl because you need me. You quite literally need me to function in this society. Women are not allowed to provide for themselves. But now these men are forced to go out, get off. They forced to, like Kim Kardashian said, get off their ass and fucking work. Um, and they don't know what to do, so they go seeking this advice, like Deanne says, from the 1950s, from the men who they see as their heroes, in my opinion. These traditionally masculine men, and the advice from these traditionally masculine men is like extremely toxic and extremely misogynistic, but these men take it anyway because they don't have another template, and they apply this advice in real life and it doesn't work, and then they get mad when it doesn't work, and they're like, wait, no, Sierra has a child. How can she get with Russell? The universe has been upset because this is not how shit, I don't know, Hitler or whoever they go to for advice, this is not how it happened for him. So I don't know. With that being said, I think I'm going to try to end this now. If you have any final words, if anybody in the comments had any final words or questions, comments, concerns, please do leave them. I'll put it on the screen and we can address them up here. But other than that, I don't know why YouTube keeps showing this comment. Women weren't even supposed to talk according to them. That's why they don't care. Yeah, men are definitely like be seen, not heard. I don't Which is why I'm not going to go into it now, but I think I have this theory about why the manosphere doesn't like women to have education and don't like them to have degrees, don't like them to have jobs or money, don't, in how they say, I don't care if a girl works at McDonald's or if she's a businesswoman, it doesn't matter. I don't discriminate. All that matters to me is that she's feminine and she's submitting, she's pretty. Her income and her education don't matter, which they say that very loudly. And I think they say that because they don't value women for anything outside of looks. They don't value women for anything outside of using your womb. So between 18 and 35, right? Any woman between those ages, to them, there is no difference to them, regardless of what your job is, regardless of what your education is, because they don't even plan to talk to you. They want to use you for sex and you take care of the kids. And that's it. Why would I consider anything outside of that? But whatever. Whatever. I'm just mad they think intimate relationships are the only valuable relationships. She really wanted to say they don't place their value in having a man anymore. How dare they have self-worth? Yeah, how dare you? I can't believe women are really out here living their lives not tailored to a man. What assholes. Like what dicks, honestly. Wouldn't you agree, Key? Like how dare these women not place me first? Don't these women know that they're born to, I don't know, whatever they be talking about. Don't these women know that the only way a woman can be happy is if she has a child? Women out here without children are living purposeless lives. They don't have any purpose. I don't know. That's weird. That's weird as fuck. But men, if you don't have kids, it's fine. I guess you still have purpose in everything outside of having children. Whatever. These relationships only lasted because women had less choices. Yes, I think we addressed that. Didn't Didn't that suit salesman Hafiz say exactly that? It was better when women relied on men. Yes, Hafiz did say it's unfair that men today have to compete when back in the day, all you had to do is have a penis and have a job. Unfortunately, guys just have to have more than employment these days, or else they're not going to get women. Being a nice guy isn't enough. Did this man just say hit? Well, that did go on until 1945, so never mind, Prince Petty, you're right. Wait, what did I say? What did I say?
I
don't
actually
remember.
looked at the comment and I don't know either. I was trying to figure that one out. I was like, well, I don't know what she is
Man,
or he or
us
she is
black men
talking
are
about
just
right there.
lost.
So
Us black men just lost. We don't know what's going on. I just find it funny how, yeah, fit, feminine, and friendly. I think she's talking to me. I'm very fit, feminine, and friendly. I didn't wear a bonnet today. I chose to wear my do-rag. I will put my bonnet on after this live ends. I just didn't want to be dragged online. With that being said, I think we have addressed everything in the comments, as petty as they have been today. Hitler. Oh, that's what I said. My bad. Yeah, I mean, they got to be looking up to Hitler for advice. I don't know. Like, who are they getting this advice from? John Wayne or somebody. I don't know. They're going to somebody for advice. I don't like who they're going to for advice. They need to come to me. Please reach out to your male friends. Tell them to come here where they can get advice from a man with qualifications. And I have all the qualifications that anybody in the manosphere has, which is I have a penis and I have a microphone. With that being said, thank you everybody for coming to watch. My name is Prince Petty. This has been Man with a Mic.